Pull out your dicks, get ready to fap. It's time for your favorite show, The Grease Trap. Pull out your dicks, get ready to fap. It's time for your favorite show, Grease Trap.
Hello, welcome to another edition of the greasiest trap on the face of the goddamn earth.
How greasy is it?
Oh my god!
Is it like they haven't changed the the oil in like months?
It's Instagram model ass level.
Wow,
greasy.
and that's some Photoshop that shit.
Yeah,
right there.
She's fucking not only Photoshop but like fucking pouring the grease on.
You guys ever been to the Instagram versus reality subreddit?
No.
It sometimes creeps on the front page of Reddit if you go there. I admittedly use Reddit probably more than most people. As far as like not our actual subreddit, but just seeing the trash on the internet. It's pretty hilarious, dude. You get to see the kind of reality of Instagramias, TJ. Instagramia might not be as bodacious as you think.
What is this? Instagram reality?
So
that's it?
Yeah, so like they have a number of different things. Like people will warp their waist. So I guess if you click that, you can probably see there's probably another image that shows her ass is really not that. Let's see what it say here.
What's going on?
Oh, it's a warped fail. So she warped her like some.
Oh yeah, you can see the warp. Okay, let me just show.
Yeah, Paul's gonna say
it.
Yeah, this makes no sense to him.
Yeah, you can see.
Reality has been distorted. Her butt is so large. You have to either believe it bent time and space, or she used some,
I mean, I choose to believe that. Though.
I mean, it warps reality around it. It has its own gravitational field that warps the grain of the wood around it.
Yeah, that's just how her ass works. Scotty.
I'm sorry.
If you were to put your face in that ass, Scotty, it would distort your face. You would be once you got close. It would suck you in like a black hole.
Here's a chick who forgot to alter the image in the mirror, I guess.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, this type of shit right here is fucking like rampant these days, man. It is so easy to do these fucking like. Okay, so what's off about this one?
I just saw this legitimately posted. Nobody is noticing the little arm or the bent window frame. Okay, bent window frame, little arm.
They're saying her arm behind there. So it's like, it looks like they airbrushed her waist, is what it looks like. Her waist probably isn't that trim. Oh, I can kind of see the detailing on the left side if you look where the shirt is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can kind of see the details of
I can
it.
Some of them are pixels. Dude, I can't see shit but a big fat pair of titties in my face.
I don't even see what's wrong with
this. Like, as a guy, you guys, I don't think this subreddit is necessarily targeted towards us.
Oh, this is like
women. I think
this is like women that are mad that other women look good on Instagram or something.
Well, there's some legitimately bad ones. Go to the top ones, dude. Go back down.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's just angle shit.
And how do we even know that's the same woman?
Yeah, that might even be the same bitch. But even if it is, like, a lot of this is just down to angle. Because, like, this is, like, her butt at this angle. This is a butt at a totally different angle and a totally different pose. It's like, no shit, you look different at different angles. Who cares?
Some more down there, TJ. Instagram. Oh shit, Paul, look at this.
I mean, that's just ridiculous, though. That waist is retarded. There's no way anybody... I mean, I don't mind that she did it. It cuts an interesting picture for sure, but...
I mean, see, as guys,
I don't even
the reason
that?
We would never realize this shit, dude.
No,
it's because
horrible. I don't even want that.
Okay, that's just weird. It's because we're so fucking horny. We see something like that, we're just like tits, and like women are like, "Oh, that's Facetune. That's this. This has been done. This has been done."
Now, what about we go like top?
Dude, top all time, dude.
All time.
Oh, dude, it's probably giving some egregious ass shit.
All right, let's see. Someone said this belongs here.
Oh, this is funny. This is just funny. I've seen this one before.
You seen this? Okay, what is going on?
Now watch.
She's like in the aquarium.
So she's just like, oh, this phony posting. She's like,
wow, I'm so intrigued.
Now watch.
This is an influencer?
Yes, this is some influencer
like
type.
acting?
Yes.
Wow. This is her like being part of this.
This is the best one, dude. This old fat dude just fucking roasts her better than I've ever seen.
This dude is my fucking hero.
There goes my hero. Watch him as he poses.
Okay. What's this?
Man, that was almost too cringe for me to get through. I'm glad it ended when it did, and I'm glad it had the fat old dad at the end of it too.
I know he makes it.
She's 50 years old and photoshopped herself to look like she's in late 20s. Women, there's nothing wrong with looking your age. You're not expected to look 20 years old forever. Well, isn't the fucking fact that this fucking shame Reddit exists kind of proof that that's not true?
How about this too? If there's nothing wrong with looking your age, then what's wrong with photoshopping yourself to look like a different age? Like, what's wrong with it? Like, I don't think J-Lo feels like she has to fucking do this. Her publicist probably did this shit. Who fucking cares, dude? She still looks hot. You're not gonna bang fucking Cougar J-Lo on the right? Give me a fucking break, bro.
See what the fuck's going on here. This is reality. What? What's happening?
I don't know.
Okay. What am I seeing?
Just breathe. Just keep breathing.
Oh, okay. She's sucking in her gut.
Oh, okay.
So what? What?
She's like the masked magician on that fucking The Secrets of Magic Revealed. Do you remember that shit?
I hate that guy. Yeah.
She's like that, dude. She's a fucking cause damn, she just shows you right there like how fake a lot of this is. But I don't give a fuck. Like, personally, I could give a fuck less if women want to goddamn Photoshop their waist tiny and their titties huge and their ass so it warps the goddamn space around it. Like, dude, I got no problem with it.
It's interesting though, because like then I realized more about that. It's just that like it opened my eyes to like, oh wow, really all this stuff is just angles and how you pose it and how you do it. But I mean, like, that's not really surprising either. I mean, of course, if you're gonna take an image, you're gonna put your best foot forward, and obviously, if you can trick people online to thinking you're more attractive than you are, like, dude, almost anyone's gonna do it.
Do you know when I learned this shit was going on? When the
MySpace
happened.
Days?
You remember back in the early days of like MySpace, there was the F-gas, the fat girl angle shot.
Oh yeah,
where like they would do the real high top down, like, and and then like you see a picture of them straight on and they're blubbergumptious as fuck. You know what I mean? That's when I realized that perception is reality on the internet. You know what I mean? And
100%,
dude. Let me ask you guys about this. I'm just gonna read a headline to you. It's interesting. Like, conservatives are trying to make hay with this. This is a Daily Caller story, and I want to ask you guys, like, honestly, setting aside the source, do you think that this is an issue?
Okay.
So one of the co-founders of BLM, her name is a lady named Patrice Cullors. Okay, and so they're saying that. So here it says. The headline is "Huge Number of Problems. Charity Experts Sound Off on BLM Co-Founder Patrice Cullors' Potential Self-Dealing." So self-dealing in a charitable sense is when you run a charitable organization and then have other organizations that get business from those charitable organizations. You deal business to a business that you own, right?
Right. Sure.
So they're saying she's been identified as the co-chair of an art company that received business from 3 separate activist groups that are under her control. The art company that dealt this business out was called Trap Heels, and it's led by the father of Cullors' only child. Like, he's the CEO of it, but she's on the board of it. I feel personally, from an ethical perspective, there are a huge number of problems here. Longtime charity ethics expert Doug White told the DCNF. I don't know if Doug White is an expert on anything.
I mean, I would have to I'd have to hear someone I would.
It's so hard when you have like sources like this, because I mean, really any media source is gonna fucking at this point fucking lie about people they don't like.
I mean, I would like to see someone who's more objective that handles these charities.
But I mean, like, I would not put it past. I mean, like, you put someone in charge of something, whether it be like a charity or any sort of organization, and there's always going to be like a temptation to abuse power and
right. And self-dealing. Self-dealing is one of the ways that is almost invisibly abusing power, and if you do it right, because it's like you're just using a business to facilitate some need of the nonprofit, right?
Right. And, you know,
you're
the thing
on the
is
board of that business, and so you got nothing to do with the business, you know, nobody can
that
tell.
That be a conflict.
I mean, we see it all the time where people, I mean, like, look, you know, it's like there's like a natural inclination to help out people that are in your fucking circle too, especially if you got some kind of thing. But like when you're dealing with a charity, like the BLM charity does not exist to enrich the father of her child or whatever, or
no.
Well, she's
or
on the
people
board.
in her social circle. Yeah, like she's on the board, therefore everyone that she knows gets, a little cut of some money from the BLM fundraising.
Well, no, I mean she's on the board of this Trap Heels organization as well.
Right.
So she's
she's
a co-founder of BLM. Now, I don't know how true this. I don't know if this is just bullshit that's been made up or whatever. Like, consider the source, right? Daily Caller.
Sure.
But
sure.
I mean, this is not good news for a burgeoning fucking social movement to already have this type of shit happening, if it's true.
Well, the thing about these organizations and everything, that when you start making a difference and you start having more influence on society, like these organizations clearly are having, and the impact they're having, they have enemies, so they're of course going to go look at that. That doesn't mean I'm saying she's innocent, but I think I need to be as objective as possible and say, is this should charities be run this way? Is this an ethical and transparent way to financially run the charity? If the answer is no, then that shouldn't be allowed, and it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I'm seeing some stuff from like Daily Mail and stuff where she has like a $3 million housing portfolio and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Well, we don't know where that money came from for that. If it came from BLM and charitable donations, then that's definitely a conflict of interest.
Was she wealthy before?
Yeah,
she was running that charity.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of questions, but that is actually.
The charities in America are kind of a giant scam because there's no really regulation or oversight. Like, you can literally, it's legal for me to be like, I am creating a charity to help fucking starving children or whatever, and then, as CEO of the charity or whatever.
Yeah, with $3 million.
I pay myself 99% of that money, and the 1% or whatever. There's some kind of standard, but it's really low. Like,
we also need to
pay whatever little tiny fraction of money needs to go to the thing. I mean, yeah, Anita Sarkeesian's a great example. She's not really a charity, but
she's a nonprofit, and she's required by law to file it's called the Form 990, I believe. It's something like that. And we looked into it, and she had on her business holdings, she had like $500,000, and she was also launching another fundraiser at the same time. We're kind of like, well, if you already have $500,000, you're saying is in your basically your nonprofit. Why would you go raising other money for other projects? You haven't even completed the project you raised the money for in the first place.
Yeah, and it's
not a new project.
It's so crazy because you can just have that money, and she can pay that to her. She can slow pay that stuff out to herself over like however long of a period she wants.
Right.
It's all untaxed, sitting there in her nonprofit.
On a federal level, it's non-tax.
Right.
She takes her own thing. She has to pay taxes.
She doesn't have to pay taxes when she draws it out, but she can draw it out as slowly as she wants.
But you can imagine the fucking temptation, though, to double dip.
Of course,
I can draw it out and pay it out to my own company and still draw out my salary, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's put it this way. If you were trying to think of a way to take money from an organization you had control of and then legitimately give it to yourself, this would be a way to do it.
Sure.
Because it's suddenly, I'm paying another vendor, which that's what you're considered at that point. You're considered a vendor. So that vendor gets paid and then they pay you. That's kind of like a way of backdooring the money to yourself, is what it seems like. Now, I don't know that. I haven't seen the particulars of this, but definitely needs to be an independent audit of BLM for sure. Because if this person is in charge of it, maybe she has no, maybe she didn't do something unethical, maybe she did. But it raises important questions that there need to be an independent audit of what's done, and maybe forensic accounting needs to be done if that's necessary. Yeah. But it doesn't look good. I'll say that. The perception of it is very poor.
So there's a January 2020 press release advertising an art project the company put together in South Central Los Angeles that kind of somebody found that raised these questions. The press release from a group called Brand Group says, Trap Heels, founded by CEO and cultural architect Damon Turner and co-chaired by activist, artist, organizer, educator, and founder of both Black Lives Matter and Yes on R, Patrisse Cullors, is set to hold the first ever public activation in South Central LA. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on. So they're doing, like an art installation.
Sure.
So right there, they've identified her in a press release as a co-chair of this group, and so 3 other nonprofits that Patrisse works with have tossed this business a bunch of money.
Yeah, I mean,
and used from what it looks like. Now I don't know. Once again, But I'm just saying, like, this, I saw this passing around making hay with conservatives, and I'm just like, well, I mean, if this is going on, this really fucking sucks.
It really does, truly. Because, I mean, it takes away, I mean, like, look, it doesn't really detract from, and the sad thing is, Paul, as we both know, it has nothing to do with actually, it's just a way to undermine that movement and say, oh, look at the people running. It has nothing to do, it's not like the argument is really, they're not trying to argue against, oh, well, that's too popular to argue against, so it's, oh, the people that do it are bad.
It's just ammunition. Again, so like most of the people involved in BLM have no fucking clue that this is going on, if it indeed is. You know what I mean?
And then you have
the people
to
that hit the streets.
There's like a distinction you have to make too between the organization of BLM and the movement of BLM, which are not even.
What's they're trying to paint with the same brush now? Yeah, and say, oh, it's all the same thing.
But I mean, like, here's another problem with this kind of stuff is that no one really gives a shit unless they're part. Like, people view this shit through the lens of their tribalism at this point, right? Because like Trump did all kinds of fucking shit like this. Where I'm gonna host this White House event and we're gonna all stay at Mar-a-Lago. So basically, like, he would use like his position as president to enrich himself.
Of course he did.
And like Republicans look the other way at that, and I'm sure.
I mean, some of them looked right at it. Some of them didn't even look away from it. They looked right at it and like went and spent time with him down there and golfed with him at it and shit. They didn't give a fuck.
Good. Right. People would say at Trump hotels to get in Trump's favor. They're like, oh, no. Chinese ambassador. Oh, yeah, we need to stay at the Trump hotel. We need to, Trump, that's great.
Well, Trump's inauguration was a gigantic money gift to Trump organizations. He had like all of the people involved in the setting up of it and shit stay in a Trump hotel. You know what I mean? And it's just like, wait.
Yeah, so but basically it's just like, if you decide that a fucking person or group of people are the good guys, you don't really give a shit what they do at this point. Like,
but fucking Joe Biden is doing the same thing.
I mean, he doesn't have hotels and stuff to stay at, but I'm sure he's doing equally nepotistic shit.
That's what I'm saying. He's dealing money to organizations that he in some way profits from.
Well, dude, as soon as I heard Joe Biden has a fucking boner for what's it, Raytheon or whatever, I went and bought just like $100 worth of that stock. I'm like, yeah, $100 in Raytheon, please. And that's been like, that's $117 now. So, you figure out the math on that.
Sure.
That stock has jumped up fucking.
It'll probably continue to go up too, because he just did another giant arms deal.
By the time I'm at the
Israel.
end of by the time we're at the end of it, I'll probably see that $100 I put in turn into fucking 200 or something.
I mean, you might even go higher than that. I mean, if he's got a boner for Raytheon and another giant fucking Middle Eastern war jumps off, which it's looking like it's about to.
Oh yeah, like if we're like, well, let's go to a war with Iran or something.
Well, then, just think about it. Like, if you I don't want to step on what we're going to be doing later today, because later today
obviously we're doing news today.
We're doing a news thing today, but I mean, if you look at that, there's an animated map of the Gaza Strip starting in like 1965 or 70.
Right, and you just see like
you just see Palestinian territory. Right.
It's like, pretty soon it's just gonna be gone.
Right, well, that's that people were asking me that on ideology and shit, and they were like, what's the answer to this Israel-Palestine shit? And I was like, there is no answer. The answer is that eventually Israel subsumes Palestine. And when that happens, it's gonna be seen as a genocide in the Muslim world. And it's going to inflame everything that's already inflamed around Israel, Jordan, Libya. All of these places are going to fucking blow up. Iran, which is already saber rattling. So it's like World War III waiting to happen right there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of these people that actually believes that World War III has been going on for a while now. Like, Since around the Vietnam War, that was the start, in my opinion, of World War III, because America's been pretty much like in military conflict since then. So, some brief periods of peace in my younger years.
Well, they actually get into it here. That's like if you go at the beginning, when it was just the state of Palestine. The Zionistic movement basically was like, we need a land that's ours. So they started moving, and of course it was under British control at that time.
So this was backed by the West. So it wasn't like Jews just showed up here and were like, we're going to do this. The West fucking backed this 100%.
The Brits controlled it at the time, and they basically allowed. I mean, they at some point they did eventually put some sort of controls, but then obviously, of course, after World War II, it was kind of like everyone felt like really bad, and like, oh, they do need kind of a state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, it was like at the expense of the people that live there. So it's like, you know, it's such a fucking complex issue. There's so many different facets to it. But I mean, I don't think anyone can deny at this point. It's just a slow moving kind of apartheid.
Yeah.
You know, a slow motion ethnic cleansing. It's like, oh, if we just
if you don't think anyone can deny that, just go say it on
well,
Twitter.
I mean,
and
of
go watch
course,
the
I mean, people can deny it, but I mean, they're not being objective. They're being biased. I think.
Look at it happening here. You've seen.
I mean, you can clearly see it happening.
You've seen the Palestinian state functionally carved like a turkey and relegated to a tiny little strip of Gaza and tiny little strips surrounding Jerusalem, tiny little walled off, troughed off ghettos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and these they're pretty much like walled in there, and then it's like let's just Hamas sent some rockets at us, let's bomb them again. It's like
not only that,
people that we trapped in a a little sliver of land and
let's go bomb them
out. Like, I mean, they're bombing us. I can't believe it.
I saw this video on fucking Twitter. I saw this video on Twitter of this fat fucking Jewish settler guy showing up to like evict a Palestinian woman.
Yeah, someone said that was Jewish TJ.
Yeah.
Evict a Palestinian family or whatever.
What can I say? Get out of your house.
That's what he was. That's exactly what it was. He was like, "Look, I didn't do this. Why are you angry at me? I'm not the one that did this." And she was like, "But you're stealing my home. You are stealing my home. You're here to tell me that your family is going to live here and that I have to leave." And he's like, yes. What are you mad about? I'm not the Jewish government. I'm not Israel. I'm just Jacob. You know what I mean? What do you want me to do? Get out of the house.
Like what?
And this is just how it goes with it. Like if they have a nice place, if a Palestinian has a nice place and a settler and a Jewish settler looks at it and goes, "Oh yes, this place will do," then they don't bulldoze it. They just kick the family out into another part of the ghetto. But if it's a tenement building or something where a bunch of families live, they just raise it to the ground and build nice little condos on it for rich Jewish settlers. I mean, this is like so transparently an ethnic cleansing going on by an ethno-state. Have you seen the fucking quotes from the Jewish government on Palestinians? The dehumanization?
I read them on a stream a few nights ago, basically. I was like... there was some of them retweeted by the Gravelans too. It was like my fucking favorite one was the dude that was like, a single hair on an Israeli soldier's head is worth more than the entire population of Gaza.
Right.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, okay. This seems like
inhumane.
This seems sane. You guys seem like you're totally fucking on the level. You know what I mean?
And this is what I'm talking about, man. This is, and I don't mean to fucking take it here, but this is the result of cyclical lesser of two evils voting, because both of these parties are sucking the cock. They're both responsible for sucking the dick of Israel and providing Israel with weapons and material support. So this is on the shoulders of lesser of two evils voters here in America.
Ever since 1960, I don't remember the exact year, but it was during the Kennedy administration that the United States started to strongly support the Israeli regime, and we've given them, I think, $148 billion.
Yeah, a ton of money.
And it has been completely, regardless of political party, it's been damn.
We've also blocked resolutions.
Joe Biden is in. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Scotty, but I just want to Joe Biden has increased the amount of money allotted for Israel over what Trump raised it to.
Wow.
And has also allotted more money to just the state of Israel than he has allotted to mitigation of global climate change within his budget.
I'm not surprised.
By quite a few $1 million.
Well, it's been raised. It's been pretty much consistently raised over time. I mean, like, the United States we've upped our fucking support over time.
Well, yeah. Well, the United States has a permanency on the UN Security Council. We've blocked tons of shit for Israel.
Look, we've been blocking a ceasefire right now. Every other fucking country is like, yeah, we got to do the ceasefire. The U.S. is the one standing in the way of the ceasefire.
There was a map Biden said was so telling.
De-escalation.
There was a map that was so telling, dude. It was countries that consider Palestine a legitimate state and countries that don't. And it was basically just like, Europe and the United States that don't. And basically every other country in the world recognizes Palestine as a legitimate state.
Yeah, not us. For some reason, we're just like, nope, not legit.
So here is
So it's Western Europe primarily.
Yep.
Hold on.
It looks like, does Iceland recognize them? It looks like Iceland does.
I'm gonna figure this out. Hold on.
It's literally like I looked at the thing and it was almost the entire world except for the United States and Western Europe.
Yeah, and Australia, and it looks like New Zealand as well.
Australia doesn't.
New Zealand doesn't. Antarctica, what the fuck, dude? Come on.
Antarctica is neutral. Whatever.
No, look at this shit.
Of course, Japan doesn't, but they're a big U.S. ally.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, so basically, like, our sphere of influence, it's like, no. And I guess some countries in Africa.
Looks like Mexico doesn't either. Probably
Right
just
next to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
they don't wanna piss us
Liberia,
off.
right? In Africa? That's a fucking...
That could
I think that's right.
I believe you're correct on that, but
I am
Well,
not.
I mean, if that's
I'm not
true,
great
that
at
makes
geography,
complete
but-
sense because Liberia started as a back to Africa colony for ex-slaves backed by the American government. They fly the American flag in Liberia.
yep, it's true. Yeah.
The capital of
horrible civil wars.
Liberia is Monrovia, and it's named after James Monroe, our president. So, I wonder why that, if I'm right about that being Liberia, which I'm pretty sure I am, how interesting that they're one of the sole African nations to not recognize Palestine as a legitimate state.
Well, the whole two-state solution thing it's been a fucking joke anyways. Not because it couldn't actually work, just because Israel has no real interest in it. It's just like, it's a stalling tactic. Let's keep talking about it. Oh, yeah, it's going to happen any day now. Oh, but we increasingly take the land and force people into fucking, basically...
Israel has zero.
Well, they have...
Zero interest in a two-party fucking solution.
What's so interesting too is that
or two-state
is that Jews were so historically oppressed for so long, and then
that's now like the justification for anything they need to do in this country.
Yeah, and I understand that. I understand but it's the paranoia that's been put into that culture and those people, where it's like we cannot give an inch, we have to take this land.
Well, dude, I mean, like,
and you have to understand the Middle America approach to this too. Is a lot of people like, well, Israel has right to defend themselves.
You've
they have
seen
to
the
defend
conversations
themselves.
I've had with like Howard Blum and shit on this, right? Like,
yeah,
because he's like super pro-Zionist, pro-Israel shit.
I mean, of course,
and it's like just no matter what you bring up to him, that Israel's done.
Well, here's the map they'll show you. They'll show you a little red thing, which is Israel. Then it shows like the enemies of Israel, and it's like they're just surrounded. Right. And it's like, what do you want them to do?
But like I'm just saying, like no matter what you say to him, no matter what fucking atrocity you bring up that Israel's done, it's just like, well,
Well, he knows the history of the Jewish people, where he knows that
that's my people. That's what I got to stand with my people, no matter what.
They were kicked out of their land. Their land was controlled by the Romans and the Ottoman Empire. And it's been, we've basically been shoveled from, stateless people. Like, we had to go through Europe and basically be beggars and be money lenders and whatever shit job the Christians weren't allowed to do.
Like, if you're raised in like a Jewish household, not every Jewish household, obviously there are Jews that are opposed to Israel state.
Yeah.
But if you're raised in a lot of Jewish areas, even if you're not an Israeli, questioning Israel or like even bringing up any negative mention of Israel, that's like tantamount to like,
it's
I don't
heresy.
even know what. It's like basically heretical.
That would be like it's almost on the level of walking into a church and crapping on the altar or something. It's
right.
It's seen by some Jewish people as tantamount to being like a Nazi sympathizer Jew. You know what I mean?
Totally anti-Semitic. Yeah, you're anti-Semitic.
Right. You are for the elimination of Jewish people from this planet. You are for Jewish people not having a nation of their own anywhere on the fucking planet. You're for colonizers and oppressors of the Jewish people. You're a fucking Holocaust denier. You're a fucking anti-Semite. This shit will fucking escalate real quick. Dude, I made a tweet about this shit, and TJ, I remember you liked it, about how poisonous the IP discussion is. Well, I used to call it IP. Back in the day, online, it was referred to as I/P, Israel/Palestine, and a lot of fucking message boards had it in their rules, no IP, because it would literally blow up into these giant multi-thread fucking flame wars.
Yeah, it's one of the most contentious issues out there.
It has been forever, though, since I was a fucking young man and started becoming aware of this, right? It was already hot, contentious, nasty. The people that defend Israel are willing to fucking basically make any kind of flip-flop.
Listen to this. This is, I'm not even going to tell you who said this. The Arab enmity for Jews in the state of Israel allows for no peace process. The time for half measures has passed. Bulldozing houses of homicide bombers is useless. Instituting ongoing curfews in Arab-populated cities is useless. Some have rightly suggested that Israel be allowed to decapitate the terrorist leadership of the Palestinian Authority, but this too is only a half measure. The ideology of the Palestinian population is indistinguishable from that of the terrorist leadership. Half measures merely postpone our realization that the Arabs dream of Israel's destruction. Without drastic measures, the Arab dream will come true. If you believe that the Jewish state has a right to exist, then you must allow Israel to transfer the Palestinian and Israeli Arabs from Judea, Samaria, Gaza, and Israel proper. It is an ugly
Nazi
solution,
shit.
but it is the only solution.
This is
it's
Nazi
time
shit
to stop being squeamish.
perpetrated by the Jews. This is Nazi shit.
Yeah, I mean, this
He's
is
talking about
Ben
mass
Shapiro.
exportation of people
The
out of their
only
homes and out of
solution.
what they consider to be the Gaza Strip. This is what the Nazis did when they kicked all the
this is,
fucking
This is insane.
This is
German
Ben
Jews
Shapiro.
out into Poland, and then you know what that turned
He's
into.
talking about solutions. He's talking about fucking like.
Yeah,
I'm just surprised he didn't use the word final
I
solution
just
at the
can't
end.
believe someone that would be that's Jewish would say this. They're literally fucking advocating what they fucking Nazis did.
who said
It's
this?
just- Ben Shapiro.
Shapiro.
Are you fucking kidding me?
This is Ben Shapiro.
Without drastic measures, like, oh, we have to do this. We like I said, it's yet again like we're forced to do this. Like, we don't want to do this, but they're basically terrorists over there. Like, why would they hate Israel? I can't think about why they would have this grudge against them.
And you want to know something?
We endlessly go to like Israel's right to defend themselves. Like, sure they do, but so do the Palestinians.
Right.
So does any person that is being attacked and bombed and fucking forced to live in fucking squalor and not allowed to fucking freely move. Like, this is in violation of basic human rights.
Think about this, dude. I want you guys to put yourself in, like, because one of the things that I agree with Ben Shapiro on is that there is what he calls Arab enmity for the Jewish state. The reason for that is because the Jewish state appeared in what was the modern Middle East and then slowly began subsuming its closest Arabic neighbor, its closest Islamic neighbor. So I want you to imagine here in America that China just takes part of Canada and starts taking it apart piece by piece. And slowly but sure, Canada is becoming, or Mexico, take your pick. Mexico's becoming China now. And we as a neighboring state, like, what do you think our reaction to that shit would be? Probably hostility.
I think it would be an immense amount of saber rattling that might actually just break out into like all out fucking war.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's what's happening
Immediately.
right now in the Middle East and has been happening since the fucking 60s or since the 40s, actually, if you look at it.
Yeah. After World War II, especially.
So anyway, to get back to the fucking point, like when somebody asks me about fucking IP, I tell them there is no solution. The solution is just to look at the past and look at the trajectory of this. Eventually, the Palestinian people will be subsumed, kicked out of their country, or there will not be room for them, and there will be a mass fucking immigration of Palestinian people to a neighboring country. And this is going to be viewed as a fucking genocide in the Arab world. And it's going to do nothing but inflame all of the countries that surround Israel because it proves their point. It proves their point that Israel is not here to just exist or coexist. It's here to subsume the Arabic world. Whether that's true or not, don't you think that would be the fucking sure. That's how we would view it here if suddenly China started taking Canada and Mexico?
Let's see what Ben's current rhetoric is on this.
In the Gaza Strip is that Israel continues to bomb Hamas. Hamas continues to fire flurries of rockets at civilian areas in Israel. And as with every time Israel fights back against the terrorist group Hamas, or against Fatah, which is a terrorist group, or against Islamic Jihad, which is a terrorist group, if it goes on for more than a couple of days, then the world's like, no, this has to stop. This has to stop. And it doesn't matter that Israel, as a sovereign state, not only has the right, people use this phrase, right to defend yourself. Right to defend yourself is like the most basic of human rights. But it's not about Israel just has a right to defend itself. Israel has a duty to defend its citizens. End of story.
Yeah.
Israel has a duty to kill the people who are firing rockets.
You're in favor of an ethnic state.
I saw a bunch of dead kids. I don't know. Did them kids part of Hamas?
In which there's no real democracy because you're worried that it won't be a theocratic state for long if these people are brought into the fold. So basically, you've denied them their basic human rights. They don't have the freedom of travel or association. They're basically forced to be in certain areas, which then you bomb because because terrorists and people shoot some puny little rockets at you that kill maybe 10 or 20 people, which is still horrible. I don't think anyone should be killed in any conflict, but let's be honest, that's not reality. And you kill hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's ongoing. And then Israel's launched a number of fucking wars. Like, yeah, they have a right to defend themselves, but defend themselves against who? They're not fighting soldiers. They're fighting they're killing children. They're killing fucking women. They're killing whoever they can get. They fucking bomb. This isn't a fucking war. This is just slaughtering people. This isn't a real fight.
It's slow motion extermination of a culture. And if you painted a little Hitler mustache on Ben right now and translated this into German, I'd buy it.
Eingruppen, sterben.
And it's so fucking psychological. I got to tell you, dude, it is psychologically telling that the Jewish people underwent such fucking historical, horrible oppression, culminating in the Holocaust.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's a horrible thing, dude. It's horrible to see people that have been through that.
Right.
It's also it's also the dark shit they learn from that as a cultural,
it's the psychological scarring of that as a people that have led them down the fucking same road that the German people went down. One hair on the head of an Israeli soldier is worth the entire population of the Gaza Strip. There are tons of these quotes. They talk about them like they're
Hitler
animals.
Shit for sure.
They talk about them like they're animals.
One hair
Palestinians
upon
are
an
not
Aryan
people.
German's head is worth every Jew.
Right.
Worth more than every Jew. It's like, yeah, okay. Sure. Yeah, it's total Hitler shit.
It's disgusting. And the continued support of this by both D and R needs to be addressed by any leftist. Now,
absolutely.
if there's any, I got to be honest with you. If you're a fucking leftist, you need to address the gap in harm reduction voting that allows for the continuation of this shit, because our fucking fingerprints are all over this. We gave them the jets. We gave them the missiles. We paid for the Iron Dome defense system that makes sure that their casualties from the dumbfire rockets that Palestinians sometimes fire are fucking minimal to none.
Yeah, I think only like 10% of those rockets actually get through, and then even of those, they're such weak rockets that barely any of them ever actually end up doing any real damage.
Right.
I mean, you look at the casualties on both sides. I hate even using the term in this instance, but the casualties, the Israeli casualties are like nothing.
They're minuscule.
Basically. I'm not going to say no one's ever died. I mean, sure, people have died and it's sad and shit, but like it's like a drop in the bucket in comparison.
If you take not only death, but bodily injury and displacement, which is the same thing as death, right? Being kicked out of your home
and the
into a ghetto
ongoing
where you
human
have
rights
no home.
Fucking violation. They're just like the fact living as a probably like third class citizen.
Yeah, second class ain't even fucking good enough to fucking.
Yeah, they're not even second class citizens. They're basically like third class citizens. I was watching. I don't know if you guys, either of you guys, checked out the stream I did where I was watching some stuff about this. There was a guy that I'll just play this motherfucker again because he had just like gigantic balls. If I could find this dude, he was like, where was that motherfucker? Okay, I remember what he was. Hold on.
All read it again.
Yeah. Let me just, I think I know where it is. I want to show you this dude. If I can find it. Is this top of all time?
Let's see.
Hold on, I gotta fucking. It's just today. This dude is, if I can find him. Oh, here it is. I don't know who this guy is. but he's got some fucking the biggest pair of balls on the face of the earth.
I'm in Hebron, and I've just been told about a wall. So this gate locks about 40 Palestinian families in, and it actually locks at certain times where they can't come out. And this actual side of the road that I'm walking on, Palestinians can't come. There's actually a bus stop over behind me, and the Palestinians aren't allowed to take it. I can take it. The Palestinians can't take it. It's complete racism at the heart. And if I walk over here at the bus stop, you'll see. How you doing? You can see the heavily guarded stuff for the Palestinians. So I wonder who's protecting who. They all seem so worried about the Palestinians. There's nothing to worry about. It's terrible. Do you like the racism?
I like racism.
Yeah. What do you think about the Palestinians not being able to walk along here?
I don't know, I didn't think too much about it.
That's because you don't think about other people, or?
Of course I do.
And then how can you not think when they can't walk here and they can't get the bus? They can't get the bus, they can't do anything. What do you think? Okay.
You don't have to read up that.
You don't have to read up. You're living here, man.
He has to read about it.
You gotta read about it, dude. It's right over there.
You gotta read about it.
American dollars.
It's right fucking there.
Fantastic. Hey, can I ask you what you think of the racism here? What do you think? What do you think about the Palestinians not being able to walk here? Don't care?
What?
You don't care? So,
I
see
don't
the arrogance?
understand
See the, you
English.
see the arrogance about it. It's very arrogant that they're racist right to the heart. It's disgusting. You should be really ashamed of yourself. Say higher. You're looking for peace. Just want to steal all of Palestine. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
I like this guy. Just don't give a shit.
I mean, like,
Right to your face. Just walk up to the soldier like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. How you feel about being a piece of shit? Love it. Do I remember when I was watching?
Dude. They don't give a fuck.
Of course not. I remember when I was watching. What was that? It was Morgan. Was it Morgan Spurlock that did that religious?
Oh yeah.
Doc. He was like going around the world talking to different people at different.
In search of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah. He was like, there was like the thing where he was like going around talking to people and talking to different, religious groups and stuff. And he went all throughout the Middle East, talked to all kinds of Muslims and stuff. It was no real problems. But when he went to Israel, and tried to talk to those people, is like basically like an angry mob fucking stormed him and fucking was like, he was like lucky to get out of there with his fucking head attached to his fucking shoulders. There's a bunch of Hasidic Jews just like descended, trying to rip his ass apart.
And dude, he only got that because he was some white American dude where it's just basically like, get the fuck out of here. Don't come asking questions.
Yeah, he was just like, don't ask us pointed questions, motherfucker. I'll tear you apart.
You can probably fucking find it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, like, we don't have to show the whole thing, but you can just show, like, the fucking, them beating the shit out of his fucking ass.
Israel, Morgan Spurlock.
I mean, it's great. I remember watching that, too. It was just nuts. Yeah, Jewish attack on Morgan Spurlock. There you go.
Yeah, here we go.
You can probably just skip a little bit ahead of it,
So what
too.
was he asking?
Well, we can see the context
here. Hold on.
So somebody just threw a water balloon at us. And now there's a crowd gathering because they're saying that they're going to chase us away, and they're gathering numbers now. So there's a big flock of people that's going to chase us. Yeah. I'd say we're not very wanted around here. This place is no joke. We were down there just trying to talk to people.
What do you see here? Of majority of people here don't think like them.
Yeah, I think we've found enough peace here today.
Yeah, like, well, I guess they don't beat the shit out of him, so that's good.
It's no joke. I'm going to my car. I'm going to my car. Dude. Yeah.
Jewish.
I'm going to my car.
He basically needs a police escort.
Oh, damn. That old man just shoved the cop.
There's so many things that are wrong
Dude, these Hasidim are not fucking around, man.
No, they're not.
He walked up gangster style. Dude, that old man that was like a head shorter than fucking Morgan Spurlock and probably like 40 years his senior, walked up to that motherfucker and was like, go off, motherfucker, go off, and shoved him as hard as he could and shit.
Get out of here.
The cop came and stopped him and he shoved the fucking cop.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they're like, we have this question. Yep, go. Yeah, the cop's like, get the fuck out of here. You're rabble rousing. Because he went down to ask them questions. Keep in mind, that's all he was doing. He's a fucking documentary filmmaker. He wasn't trying to fucking force them to do something or say something.
Okay, so I don't endorse the commentary you might see down here about what the fuck is wrong with you Jewish crackheads or whatever, but
sure.
You know. That's another problem with this kind of issue is that there are
just racist,
genuine anti-Semites out there that do not really give a fuck about foreign policy or Israel kind of persecution of the Muslims, but they'll use it to kind of just spread hatred of the Jews.
Yep.
So I need to make it clear once again, even though I think it's ridiculous that I should have to, that this is not about Jews as a race.
It's not a geopolitical conflict.
Yeah.
This is not about Jewish people's right to believe whatever fucking bullshit they want to believe. Look, it's all bullshit anyways, but if they want to believe, that's not the issue. The issue is what they're doing to another group of people, which is fucking morally wrong and disgusting. And, you know, unfortunately...
Like for me in my life, the issue is that I live in a country that basically materially supports what's going on there.
Right. And true. Even if someone came to me and was like, look, Hamas is bad too, and they say some bad stuff. It's like, first of all,
of course.
I mean, like, first of all, like what they say, I look at it in the context of like people that have been shoved off of their land into smaller and smaller pockets of misery.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense that there's some extremist rhetoric coming out of that.
Who wouldn't be extremist if they were shoved in the fucking shitty ghetto?
If I was in their situation, goddamn right I would be. I mean, I would be the fucking an extremist in that fucking situation. I think any reasonable person would be. Fuck that. But anyway, whatever. I'm gonna get fucking accused of sympathizing with fucking terrorists or whatever. But
no, that's why I made that post. It is a poisonous discussion for the very reason that you're talking about, because there's genuine racism wrapped up in this on both sides. Not only perpetrated in Palestine and from a Palestinian point of view and from a Jewish point of view, but from an outside point of view. When people throw their support behind one or another, there are genuine racist motives both ways.
Oh, yeah.
So you got racism 100%. Wrapped up in this. You've got cultural fucking kind of dominion wrapped up in this. Like Christian dominionism is all wrapped up in the Jewish state.
Oh, 100%.
For a huge portion of evangelical Christians, they could give a fuck about a Jew. But they want the Jews to retain control of Jerusalem because Jesus comes back to Jerusalem, to the temple.
Yep.
So
biblical prophecy.
It's prophecy from an old dusty fucking book, right? Which is honestly, if we look at it from an honest fucking perspective, that's the reason that the Jewish people are in that area in the first place. Is because they believe a dusty old tome that says that the ancient Jewish temple used to be here and God was here and this was where the Ark of the Covenant was fucking held and all this shit.
Sacred land. If people talk about like to us, you know, secular types, it's like absurd. It's like, this is sacred land. You know, we're kind of like, what is sacred land?
It's like sacred land. For what? But this is what this is why it's poisonous. Religion all wrapped up into it. Racism all wrapped up into it. Geopolitical fucking machinations all wrapped up into it. It's all about positioning at the top levels. It's all about America having a foothold in the Middle East from where we can fucking exert our influence and our fucking
right. It's our little
friendly client state.
Right. It's our little fucking, you know, yapping dog with a nuclear arsenal.
Yeah.
Right there in the heart of the Middle East.
That we gave it, by the way. We armed Israel with the nukes that it has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a largely militarized state as well, for being honest.
I mean, we support their military through American tax dollars tremendously.
We support everything they do, including the death that they deal out on Palestinians. Joe Biden just sent another giant shipment of fucking weapons to the Gaza Strip.
But guys, he wants to de-escalate things. Don't worry.
There's no de-escalation going on.
What?
There's no de-escalation.
Come on, TJ. You're kidding, TJ.
I have seen some voices come out in the political mainstream that are a little bit more strongly pro-Palestinian than I've seen previously, but it's still far away from the majority of the Democratic Party. I haven't seen any Republicans come out. Maybe there are some. I don't know who they are.
I don't think.
I know that there's some people on the other side that have started speaking out, which is a good thing.
Sure, there's some, I'm sure.
But I mean, Bernie Sanders did an op-ed, of course. I think it's kind of even more powerful because he is Jewish himself. So it's hard to accuse him of anti-Semitism. And of course, they'll just say he's like a self-hating Jew or whatever.
Yes.
So
he hates himself.
You have Ilhan Omar, who I think probably from the beginning was hated by like AIPAC and shit like that because it's pretty clear where she stands.
She's an evil, she's an evil Muslim that wants to see the state of Israel destroyed.
Right.
That's it. She goes to bed at night fapping to that. Of course, yeah.
So let me read you a little bit of fucking hypocrisy about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Joe Biden today calls for significant de-escalation today in Gaza, but Netanyahu vows to press on. Right.
What can we do?
Let me read you a headline from 2 days ago.
Right.
Power up. Biden administration approves $735 million weapons sale to Israel, raising red flags for some House Democrats. So he basically sent a giant cargo ship filled with weapons to Israel and then told them, don't you use these against him, Palestinians.
Hey, guys.
Dude, wait, the U.S. has had ample. I mean, like, look, Ilhan Omar herself's been spotlighting this shit for the last few days. We've had opportunities. The UN fucking Security Council or whatever the fuck, I don't know, one of the bodies of the UN has fucking voted a few times to fucking, like, there needs to be a ceasefire on this. And every single time the U.S. has blocked the ceasefire.
Of course.
So, I mean, like the idea that Joe Biden is going to be like, oh, well, you guys need to stop. It's like, I'm going to give you a stern reprimand. It's like, how about you give him a stern reprimand in fucking in the form of actually supporting the ceasefire?
You know what Israel gets? Hey guys, maybe ethnic cleansing, maybe isn't the best way to go about it. That's nice. Anyways.
It's just like a public, like, yo, guys, cool it. Because for so many people, that's all that they fucking need is just to hear, like, oh, well, this is what our team is doing.
We are against, I, as the president, am categorically against violence. Thank you.
Israel, calm down, buddy.
Look, Israel has a right to defend itself.
But calm down a little bit, Israel. You need to, like, chill. But then, they don't chill. And it's like, well, we told them to chill.
We asked them if they would chill.
I asked them nicely. I don't know what else more I could do.
Maybe not give them lots of funding.
By the way, here's $3 billion more this year.
But don't do that. Come on.
We're gonna give you $4 billion this year. We love you so much.
That's the right message. Stop. But here's some more money and weapons. Yeah, we really care. We're really
here's some missiles and shit.
Did you guys see? I don't know if you're gonna cover this, TJ. So if we are, just tell me. But did you guys see Biden's please clap moment that happened?
No, I didn't see it. I'll pull it for Flash Ride, though.
Yeah. Biden, just to tease it, Biden did a please clap, but it's way more asshole-ish than Jeb's. Like, you know how Jeb's looks sheepish and kind of cute and sad?
Please clap.
Clap. Biden just goes total fucking jag off.
Clap, you fucking knuckleheads.
Fuck you. Knuckle fuck. Start clapping. I'm the fucking president. You worthless sack of shit. Dude, I told you, man, in my dark fucking dystopian universe, I said, like, people thought like electing Trump was like, oh man, if Trump is reelected, that's the worst thing. But the more insidious thing is actually electing Biden. I don't know. Maybe I'll be proven fucking right about my crazy fucking real thing. Like, Trump was actually the savior of humanity. I mean, he's really not.
Trump was like a buffer. Dude, Trump did try and give us $2,000.
Yeah, where's our $2,000?
Trump tried. But the Democrats blocked it because they said it was insufficient. And then they gave us less.
Here's 14.
Well, remember they're like, oh,
well, if you add that to the previous 600.
Remember that they had the bullshit stimulus that came before, which was like the fucking 8-month negotiation between the Republicans and Democrats to have some sort of second stimulus instead of just having a UBI during the pandemic.
Yep.
Makes sense. Guys, if you actually look at this internationally, a bunch of other countries did it, so it's not even a crazy idea. It's not like this crazy experiment America would have been doing on its own. Like, what is America doing over there? Like, a bunch of other countries did it, and it worked out fine. It's just ridiculous. But of course, Now we're talking about inflation. That's the thing. Oh, if we give all these people money, there'll be too much inflation. Because that's what the common person really cares about is inflation.
Scotty.
And I get you can't have rampant inflation. It's not really great to have super rampant inflation. I'm not going to say that.
No, it isn't. But the common person needs to understand that a lot of inflation is driven by flat wages for the last fucking 50 years in this country.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Like it's like
declining wages.
If there was a fucking cost of living increase built in, there would be no inflation. You'd be fine.
If anything ever does get done on this wage issue, like whatever the new wage is, whatever the new minimum wage is, needs to be tied to fucking cost of living or inflation or something.
I don't know if we're pulling this for Flash Friday, but you hear all the states dropping unemployment because these lazy people just sitting on the government dole. They need to get back to their minimum wage job. They can't support them in any city in America, but they need to get back and do it.
There's a fucking labor shortage right now. The Republicans are like, well, it's being driven by too many people on unemployment. No, it's not. It's being driven by fucking wages being too low for
the wages are fucking poverty fucking wages, which that no one can afford to live on. It's lunacy to think someone can go work for $7.25 an hour and make it in this country. Just out of your fucking mind.
I was talking about how the extraction has taken place because I'm old. Well, I'm getting up there in years. I'm 40 years old, and 20 years ago, when I was in the labor market, let me tell you what I was able to do working at Starbucks. I was a shift supervisor at a Starbucks, so not a manager, just like one step above.
Were you dollar? Were you on salary or were you making $1?
I made salary for one brief period towards the end when I temporarily took over management of a store while they were finding another manager.
So you basically worked by the hour for the most part.
I was an hourly employee for 99.9% of the time I was at Starbucks, right, for 8 years.
Wow.
All right. So you can take this for what it means. From the year 2000 to 2008, I worked at Starbucks.
Yeah.
I was able to buy my first house. It wasn't a house, it was a condo, but my first piece of property that I owned.
Yeah.
Took out a mortgage based on my single income from fucking Starbucks. Took out a mortgage. Owned my own pad at 22 years old, which is super young, right? Then,
a
few years later, bought my first brand new car by cashing in Starbucks stock that I wish I hadn't cashed in, but that's neither here nor there. I had the option because I worked at a place that granted me stock that vested over the course of the time that I spent with the company. I was able to basically take cash in and purchase a car. A brand new car. Now, it wasn't like a luxury vehicle. It was a Scion XB, but it was a brand new 2006 Scion XB that I bought on Starbucks' nut. Now, people that work at Starbucks have to live with 3 other people that work at Starbucks, like little co-ops. That's what happens. A lot of these Starbucks people end up rooming together because what they get paid doesn't get them a room where they live. You know what I mean?
And as far as the American retail or food service landscape, they're one of the better employers to work for, if we're being honest.
So that's just an example of what's been extracted in the last 20 years. If you go back to my entire life, I've told you guys about how rich my fucking parents were. What?
Oh yeah. I mean, the way you describe them living now.
I know.
It's nothing with you. Yeah,
it's nothing to do with anything you're saying. But
sorry.
No, it's okay. No.
You're saying some serious shit. It's like I'm seeing Satan was a lesbian. It's like Sean Connery fighting some dominatrix chick with a crop.
I love this, dude.
I love pulp novels and shit.
Around the body of Satan. Dude, the way you described your parents and with shit growing up, the kind of thing you live, Paul, that sounds like someone that's rich now.
Yeah.
It really does, doesn't it? It sounds like they bought a big piece of property. They're going to build a little farm, have a little hobby farm. That sounds like someone that's they're rich.
They were both fucking factory workers. My dad was a grease monkey mechanic dude. My mom was a forklift driver and a front end loader driver, and she pushed a broom.
Can you imagine if you just told the people those jobs and said this is and then showed the property today? Most people would be like, "There's no way. How the fuck?"
I don't even have to do that. That factory still exists, and the people that work there can barely make their rent now.
I'm sure.
They can't. They can't. Like if they do have a mortgage, they're living by the skin of their teeth working there. You know what I mean? And they don't have a big, nice piece of property that they built. Dude, I had all kinds of toys growing up and shit. Like the fucking quads and shit. Or, well, back then it was 3-wheelers in the 80s because those were still legal.
Yeah.
But those were dope.
Death traps.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. They were fun. They were fun-ass death traps.
I remember back when I was a kid, people having the 3-wheelers and just like, man, don't go up. I mean, it wasn't a big deal here because we have hills, but people talk about like go up places like we go to Tennessee and those fucking things would flip back.
Yep.
But the point is, you had that kind of shit. I mean, and you know,
and then my parents, and then it all was ruined when my parents were in a car accident that almost killed them, and even their union-based insurance wouldn't cover it, and they had to declare bankruptcy because they were unable to work for 6 months, and they were just uncovered in a medical way, and there was tons of medical bills, and because the accident that they were involved in was with the federal government, it was a federal government army vehicle, their ability to have any recourse was severely limited.
Yeah, they
were basically left ass out with no choice but to go bankrupt. Their marriage fell apart not long after that. Not long after that, the union fell apart when the company was sold and to a French company named Saint-Gobain that basically came in and said, look, you're going to have to take some pay cuts and some retirement cuts and some fucking benefits cuts because it is worth way more for us to just strip this factory of all useful materials and move this to Mexico. So unless you want us to do that, you take cuts. And that fucking AFL-CIO had, there was just nobody there to support it anymore. It had weakened to the point where it's slowly allowed to happen. Like Saint-Gobain didn't come in and cut their balls off immediately. They took a little ball hair or two, and then they came back for another one in the next negotiation cycle, and another one, and another one, and another one. Till the point
what's insane too? As a French company, if they tried to fire someone that worked in France for them, there was no fucking way they could have done it like that. There's
God
no
bless America.
There's no possible fucking way. They have such strict labor laws in France. There'd be massive protests. There'd be a million other fucking impediments. So these companies just get smart, Paul, and they go, why do it here where I can't fire someone? I can't fire a French citizen. And they go to America, though.
And they
fire them whenever I want.
The pistol, by the way, that they were holding to the heads of the workers in that factory exists. It exists because
100%.
Like almost like 90% of the beer and wine glass, which is what that fucking factory makes, is made in Mexico for pennies on the dollar in ununionized factories at slave wages, right? And so there's absolutely nothing keeping a fucking company, keeping one of these things open unless they can make up the margin of what it would cost them to move that operation to Mexico. Out of your ass. 100%. And that's what happened to that fucking factory. That's why people that are in that factory right now can barely afford a mortgage, can't afford new cars. It's just falling apart.
Can barely afford to fucking live. Yep. I mean, that's basically what that's the standard in America. It's like, can you barely live? Good.
Yep. But that's happened in my lifetime.
Then people, if you're focused on survival, Paul, you know this. You thinking about politics, thinking about all this other shit, you think about bad, you're getting fucked. You might know you're getting fucked, but you're like, you know what? I have to show up at the factory. I'm fucked. I can't make ends meet. I don't want to live on the street. I don't want to be homeless. Then they, that's like George Carlin said. It's like that's the reason they keep the real poor people around, the homeless and shit. It's like, look what you could become if you don't play it by the fucking rules.
No, exactly. They're a great example.
You don't participate in this, you're gonna be this guy. You want to be that guy? No, go to your fucking shit factory job. That's why the pandemic has had such an impact on the labor markets, because people were actually able to stay home and fucking kind of really evaluate their lives and go, wait a minute, this system's fucking garbage. I'm getting fucked so fucking bad. And then meanwhile, their fucking boss is going like, well, guys, it's real tough with this pandemic, but I got to go on vacation now. Mexico's opening back up out here. I'm going to have a real great time. Well, you guys continue to fucking subsist for slave wages. I'll talk to you later.
I'm going to go hang out.
Like, our workers are family to us. Our workers are family here at fucking DuPont, whatever the fuck,
horse shit. Yeah,
they're our
abusive,
family. We love
horrible alcoholic family that like with a dad that comes home drunk and beats everybody, and a mom that's like a fucking secret narcissist or whatever, and pits everybody against one another. Yeah, real family. Anyway, is that a grease trap, gentlemen? What do you think?
That's probably one of the greasiest traps that's ever been.
Dude, it was a greasy one.
Yeah, it's fucking super
extra greasy.
Mm-hmm.
Big fat pride.